Hello, welcome to Vegas Nation, our off-season update here to talk about the Oakland Raiders, soon to be Las Vegas Raiders, somewhere down the line. I have three guys that know about football. We have Raiders beat writer Michael Gehlken, sports reporter at the Review Journal, Gilbert, Manzano, of course, sports columnist at Graney. I'm Bryan Salmond. And guys, we're going to head to start with Michael. You're the man, the myth, the legend. We're going to start with the offensive tackle situation with the Raiders. They have a lot of guys. Donald Penn is older. He's kind of, we don't know if he's hurt or whatever. What do you think about what the Raiders have on the offensive line? John Gruden says that, hey, we need to be able to pass protect a lot better this coming season.
Above all positions, this may be the one that intrigues me most entering training camp. A lot of teams carry three offensive tackles. You have your two starters and the swing, someone who could play left or right tackle should one of those starters go down. Maybe you could carry four. Right now, the Raiders have five that you can make a legitimate case should be on this roster. Kolton Miller, the first-round pick, he's going to be on there. Brandon Parker, a third-round pick, he's going to be on there. Donald Penn, a lot of money to him. Yeah. Brando Giacomini, someone they signed in March, who initially was penciled in as a starter. And they have a fourth-round pick last year, someone they really like in David Sharp. 5 offensive tackles. Will it be 3 or 4 being kept? I would venture to say 4, but I wonder if those young guys show out. If Kolton Miller looks great, looks like a starter. If Brandon Parker looks like he could be, he's a third-round pick. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. But they're David Sharp. They love. If Brando Giacomini looks like he's a starting caliber guy at right tackle, you wonder about Donald Penn. $3 million that they would save if they were to release him. They have $3 million already penciled to him. It's already fully guaranteed. He's on the other side of 34, 35. Yeah, he's coming off of foot surgery. So someone who's been a Pro Bowl type of guy who didn't miss a game in his career going to last season, might this be the end for him? Might he not make it to week 1? Fascinating question going into this scene.
I just really believe there's a reason why we at the Review Journal have the best beat writer in the country, and Michael Gehlken in the NFL, because there's no chance anywhere else in this country someone began any statement with the left tackle position intrigues me.
This is true.
There's absolutely no way there's another beat writer. This is why he's the best. And I echo everything he just said. I stopped thinking about it after he said the left tackle interests me more than anything. But whatever he said, I'm sure was perfect.
Yeah, agreed. We don't even need to hear from. No, go ahead.
For me, it's just like, can Kolton Miller play? A lot of people had their skepticism about him being, I think, number 15 it was. I think they dropped down with the Cardinals for the trade, but people were thinking he was late first round, maybe second rounder. To just start right away, and especially when if you have a battle between Donald Penn, you put him out right. Sometimes when you're a left tackle, you don't know the right side is it's very different. So. For me, and then you got Tom Cable being the coach in charge, and
you've talked about that.
And that's kind of an issue for me. I know Tom Cable's kind of had his issues in Seattle for Russell Wilson. He's probably happy that he's gone right now. But for the Raiders, is that going to be a benefit? Him being the groomer for all these guys that Michael just mentioned.
Well, devil's advocate for me would be for Tom Cable is the fact that up in Seattle they had guys that were playing basketball there on the offensive line. So he's got a little bit more talent to work with down here with the Raiders.
I would say good players make good coaches very often.
How about the AFC West? I mean, to me, it's a toss-up. There's a lot of teams out there with quarterback issues. One could argue that with John Gruden and Derek Carr that the Raiders are a favorite. One could argue if you're a homer, I guess. What do you think? A guy who knows a little something about sports betting. If you were to put one penny, what team do you think will finish?
Mike might not be surprised, but I'll put my penny on the Chargers. I think last year, I think they, again with the slow starts, and Mike covered them for many years. Yeah. So it was almost laughable how they would start slow and move on. I think they've gotten past that.
To me, they have the best quarterback.
They definitely have the most proven quarterback.
Certainly the most proven quarterback. Yeah. I know the Raiders roster very well over the past year plus covering them. Covered the Chargers for 7 years, have a good feel for that roster as well. When you look at it, you look at the edge rushers that the Chargers have between Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. Look at their cornerbacks. The Raiders are so unproven there. The quarterback, Phillip Rivers, is being more of a veteran. It's a shame with Hunter Henry's torn ACL that happened in OTAs. Yeah. That was a big blow to that offense. That tends to be the problem with the Chargers. Some of these fluke, freak things tend to happen. It's special teams, it's injuries. Hunter Henry, an example of the latter. But I still would say, with the Chiefs being right there, I would lean toward the Chargers as being the class of the division entering the season.
Chiefs quarterback needs to prove himself.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's the tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's the tiebreaker.
See, for me, when Michael mentioned all the freaky injuries and the kicker, and they're not really having a home, for some reason the Chargers just can't figure it out. They're very talented. They're probably on paper the best team in the AFC West. But I'm going with Andy Reid and coaching and the Chiefs.
He's
and
going Mahomes.
the Chiefs.
Really? You going
Chiefs
Pat
always
Mahomes?
seem somehow get these players groomed and ready to go. In the playoffs, that's a different story. But to win the AFC West, I think Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid will figure it out. They added Sammy Watkins to go with Travis Kelce and Kareem Hunt. They're very talented on offense. Defense is a little shaky. They lost Marcus Peters, but I like Andy Reid. I'm going to put my money on him.
And I also think it's interesting we spent 5 minutes in the AFC West and haven't mentioned Denver. And maybe there's a good reason for that. Maybe they are going, if we all put our picks down, as well as we all picked last year. I think Denver would be again. And if you have to start with who's the quarterback, then that's why they're probably picked last.
You still got Von Miller, and they just drafted Chubb, from NC State. So when you got pass rushers, you got a shot.
Right.
Yeah.
This is true.
And they have a punter that you guys know about.
Marquette
King in altitude might boom some that are just going to be outrageous.
Yeah, Bruce Irvin's waiting for that game.
Yeah.
That's true. Really quickly, we got to get out of here. A topic that Michael loves to talk about, and we love to hear him talk about.
The cold weather?
No, who's going to be the kicker? Who's going to be the place kicker for the Raiders? They got a nice
little
battle.
If he loves tackles, he really loves place kickers. Tackles and place kickers are this kid's business.
It's Christmas in July, right?
That's right. Who they going to have kicking? Giorgio Tavecchio.
Your guy.
Giorgio Tavecchio.
He's
the Italian shirt on today. Look at him.
Yeah. That's going to be we joke about it, but that'll be a heated battle come training camp, right?
It will be, and I think nothing was decided in the spring. You saw where Eddie Pinheiro, the undrafted rookie, who Raiders shelled $25,000 in undrafted rookie money. That was more than any other of their undrafted rookie class. This is a guy they wanted. Johnny Townsend and him have some chemistry back from their Florida days. So he's coming in here, and I wouldn't call him an underdog.
If I'm rooting for a holdout, the second rooting interest is Tavecchio makes it so I can hear Gehlken talk to him in Italian because that's really, other than that, there's no other reason to make trips.
You want to do the podcast and bring up Giorgio Tavecchio and tie in the Italian.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I got it.
Perfect.
Ciao.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Sports beat writer, Raiders beat writer Michael Gehlken, sports reporter Gilbert, Manzano, sports columnist Ed Graney, Bryan Salmond. This is Vegas Nation, our off-season update.